Hey guys, Jordan of Scale History SLC here. If you follow me on Instagram or have seen my photos on other social medias, you'll know that I have done quite a few metal conversions for my bolt action miniatures, and almost every time I share these conversions I get asked how I go about making them. So in this video, I'm going to show you some very basic conversions. But why convert metal, you might ask? Why not just use plastic models? Well, that's a fair question. To be honest, it's mostly preference. I've made a switch in the last year or so to fielding my entire armies with metal infantry. I prefer the weight of metals, I like using multiple manufacturers, and oftentimes I feel metal sculpts can look better and have more character. Not always, but mostly. Here are the three major reasons I'll consider doing a metal conversion for a miniature. 1. I have duplicate miniatures. This can often be fixed with a simple head swap, which I'll show you in this video. But I've also taken more drastic measures to create entirely new miniatures. 2. Unique characters. One of the very satisfying aspects of this hobby for me is when someone asks me, "Where did you get that miniature?" And I get to say, "Well, I made it." I like to mix manufacturers for these conversions if possible to make them extra unique. And number 3, fixing an issue. Sometimes miniatures come with broken rifles, missing equipment, or as you'll see later in this video, molding errors and damage. Rather than just tossing the miniature in the bin, I'd rather make them tabletop worthy. So before we begin, the most common question I get asked is, how do you cut your metal miniatures apart? Instead of perhaps an X-Acto knife like you might use for your plastic models, I use a small pair of electrician's wire cutters. You can get these very cheap from your local hardware store. And because pewter is a soft metal, and while it's not necessarily easy to work with, you can make cuts pretty effectively. Alright, let's jump in. The first example will be a simple head swap. Here I have a Romanian infantryman from Great Escape Games. My Romanian force is winter themed, and I'd like to make this miniature look like he's prepped for the colder weather. I have 2 heads from the German winter sprue from Warlord which I'd like to try, and I decided to use the one with the fur hat around his ears. So my biggest tip for converting metal miniatures is, make a plan before you begin. Once you start cutting into metal, you're all in. Here you can see that I'm sort of test fitting how this head swap will look. I have to visualize where I'm going to cut and where I need to stop cutting. When you cut into your metal miniatures, the metal will deform slightly around the blade, so you have to be mindful. If you cut down too low, you'll have damage where you don't want it. Once you visualize your build, make your cut. I decided to make the cut about where the model's chin is. As you can see, the cut leaves a jagged neck area that needs to be cleaned up. I simply make much smaller cuts to get it as smooth as possible. Remember, you can always take more off, but you can't replace it if you've cut too far. Next, I take a look at the Warlord plastic head. It's designed for their plastic bodies, and so it's rounded. I need to make a cut to make it flat and flush with the body. Again, start with a small cut, then take off more if needed. Next, the glue. Make sure you test fit before applying any glue. I'm using Gorilla Super Glue, and there are definitely better hobby-specific super glues out there. Just make sure that what you are using is in fact super glue. Plastic cement won't bond with metal. So to glue it, I simply brush on the super glue, not too much, and press the plastic head into place, and voila, head swap complete. Alright, that one was easy, so let's try another conversion. Here's a Japanese infantryman with a rifle, and as you can see, the rifle was mismolded and is very disfigured. So I reached into my bits box and found an Arisaka rifle and a left arm from Warlord's Japanese sprue. I'll just be using the hand from the arm. I've decided to recreate the original pose just with the plastic rifle. I begin by cutting the rifle and hand away from the body. One important thing to think about is whether or not the area you are cutting is going to be covered by another piece. As you can see, even after cleaning up the cut, there are some messy areas on this soldier's torso and leg. You could try your hand at sculpting the details that are missing with putty or something, but that's not exactly what we're doing today. So I decided that I will place the rifle in the same spot as the original, so as to cover those ugly areas. The next step is to attach the plastic pieces. I removed the hand from the plastic arm and glued it onto the rifle where I wanted this soldier to be holding it. Then I test fit to make sure that this is going to look okay once I glue it on. Don't forget to test fit. I'm satisfied with the test fitting and apply superglue to the arm and the leg where the plastic hand and rifle will contact the miniature. And there you have it, one fixed Japanese infantryman. Alright, thank you guys for watching this video today. If you'd like to see more of these how-tos, possibly digging into some more involved metal conversions, let me know in the comments. Till next time.